Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at a comedy from 1988. That movie is A Fish Called Wanda. Now, before anyone asks, no, I've never seen this movie, which is kind of surprising, because this here is like one of those movies that's usually on, like, the big pile of films damn near everyone else has seen. I've never had a chance. In fact, I'm almost ashamed to admit this. I have no idea what the hell the movie is even about. I've seen maybe about 90 seconds of this movie, and that didn't tell me anything. I still haven't bothered to read the back of this, so I don't have any idea from that. The only thing I know is that it is supposedly one of the funniest comedies ever made, and the cast is absolutely rock solid. But then again, when you have Kevin Kline, and you have Jamie Lee Curtis, and you have Michael Palin and John Cleese from Monty Python, and you put all four of them together in a film, it had better be good, okay? Because all four of those people know how to be funny. So I have high hopes of this movie being fantastic. However, if this thing does somehow wind up being a, letdown, I'm also kind of expecting that too, because frankly, with me and with movies, anything can happen. Again, still have high hopes though. But the only way I'm going to find out if this damn thing's any good is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out A Fish Called Wanda. Okay, I totally understand that I'm not exactly an expert on bank robberies, but I really don't think that going in, firing off guns and your entire crew dressed up as ninjas is probably the best way of doing it. Just saying, like, you might want to do something a little bit more quiet, maybe kind of stealthy. But sitting there and just opening fire randomly just doesn't quite work, and those are some beautiful fucking diamonds. Anyway, I don't think that this was the best way to do a bank heist. Just saying. Okay, guys, I'd like to say right now, as good as this movie is so far, I cannot stand this stutter. Michael Palin's character Ken, my god, his stutter is just a bit too much. I don't know, maybe it's because I myself have a little bit of a stutter, but it is so out there. It just sort of goes beyond being funny and just kind of brings the story down just slightly. Hopefully though, the movie's not going to be horribly hindered by it. I just kind of wanted to make that point clear now, though. Wow, I never thought I would see a camera that blatantly visible in this movie. We just had a real long shot where you could see the camera clearly in a mirror in the background. Totally understand that's not normally something people would notice, but goddamn, it was so fucking blatant, guys. It just kind of pulled me out of the movie a little bit. Just kind of wanted to share that. You know, guys, I would like to say right now that Otto is absolutely out of his fucking mind, but I still cannot help but like him just slightly. I don't know why, but there's just something about that fucking whack job I'm really kind of liking. I just kind of wanted to let you guys know. Oh my god! Okay, I never thought I'd see a movie that would show a dog who had just been run over and it would be funny as shit. This movie did it. That is beyond fucking awesome. Oh my god, Ken seriously is just not able to catch a fucking break, can he? And also, that is the third time in this movie I have seen a dog die, and it makes me laugh. I'm really not sure if it's just because the writing in this thing is so good, or if I honestly am just that much of a sick bastard, but god damn it, man, it's fucking funny as hell. happen to remember how earlier I mentioned about how Ken's stutter just could very well lead to the movie just being drugged down to a screaming halt? Kind of happened here. This scene went on way too long because the entire joke was Ken has a horrible stutter. Again, just kind of wanted to make that clear. I called it, and it happened. However, I'm kind of hoping that the movie's able to bounce back in the last 10 minutes or so. Wow! I love John Cleese trying to do a fucking American accent. That is funny as shit, guys. Well, guys, that was A Fish Called Wanda, and, well, that was really fucking good, guys. Alright, let me shut that movie off. Okay. Oh, boy. Alright, so, I'm going to start with the writing. I knew I was in for something good, guys, within the opening minute of this thing, because I saw the writer's credit. Yeah, guys, it's not often that I am absolutely sold just on the writer credit, but I saw that this was written by John Cleese himself, and I'm going to tell you right now, John Cleese can write fantastic shit. In fact, I cannot think of a single bad thing that he has written. This is proof positive of this, too. It's like this, Monty Python, Fawlty Towers. This son of a bitch knows how to write, and he knows how to write very, very well. So, I knew I was in for something good, and I got something fantastic. We have characters who are very well fleshed out. We have a story that just we have a story that just keeps on going and going, and it almost never stops, minus when Ken has to divulge important info to the story. I'll get to that in a second. Like beyond that, everything else works great. Everything else flows beautifully. It flows perfectly. And that is the kind of thing you want. And of course, because it's written by John Cleese, the humor is so spot on. It is fantastic. I found myself laughing constantly through this. And considering the fact that most people consider this thing a romantic comedy, I almost never do that with romantic comedies because, well, most of them fail at being funny. But this thing certainly hit that nail on the head beautifully. Guys, the humor here is incredibly witty and incredibly sharp. If you are a fan of comedies, this thing is perfect for you in terms of writing all by itself. The one lone issue I have with writing has to do with Ken. Because, well, as some of you know, if you've watched enough of my videos, I have a little bit of a stutter. Mind you, it has gotten better as time has gone by, but I still have a stutter, and it still kicks up every so often. But I do know some people have absolutely debilitating stutters, and Ken here, he has that kind of a debilitating stutter. And with that in mind, when you have a character like that and he's in a film like, this, which is very sharp, very funny, very sharp humor, to have a character who's barely able to get a sentence out until the very end of the film, I'm not going to spoil why, it really doesn't fit. Now, I'm not saying that the writing there was bad, it's just they could really have shortened those jokes down. Because, I swear to God, at one point we have Archie trying to get info from Ken as to where the diamonds are, and the scene goes on about a minute longer than it probably should have. Because we need to hear Ken go, the cat, 15 fucking times before Archie stops him and goes, okay, I want you to try again. I want you to sing it. And then we hear it another 15 times. And it just keeps on going. And the humor kind of dies there. It's like that one there's like one of the few comedic potholes this thing hit. And mind you guys, Michael Palin plays Ken fantastically. He really does. It's just the character doesn't totally work with the rest of the script. He just kind of sort of feels out there a little bit. Again, that could probably have been helped by trimming a little bit of the dialogue, just because, really, guys, the only other thing that Ken has going for him is that he loves animals, and he feels absolutely horrible as he tries to do his job of killing a little old lady and keeps friggin' icing her little Yorkie dogs, By the way, those are still some funny fucking moments. However, though, beyond that, the only other thing he has is that he has this stutter, and it gets so irritating as the movie goes on that, frankly, it's really nothing shy of a miracle that Ken is seen very, very infrequently in this film. Because if he were in there any longer, I really think it would have been absolutely detrimental to the film. So even though I like the character and I like him being there, I really think it would have helped if a lot of his jokes, especially when the entire joke is, yes, he has a stutter, were trimmed back a little bit. That right there is just me, though. Beyond that, the writing in this thing is fantastic. And of course, with fantastic writing, you always want fantastic acting, and our top-notch cast absolutely deliver. We have here an awesome cast and a fantastic script. I'm going to tell you guys, this thing is solid gold in terms of acting. Because we have Michael Palin and John Cleese and Jamie Lee Curtis and Kevin Kline. All four of them know exactly what they are doing. And I'm going to tell you right now, out of all four of them, I do believe that Kevin Kline as Otto steals the fucking show. Probably because Otto is written as absolutely over the top as possible. He is every single American stereotype you could ever see, lumped into one psychotic, retarded package, and it works so well. I loved Otto as a character. He was just so out there, and I just kind of liked him. Mind you, though, now mind you, almost every other character, well, except for, Wendy. Well, Wendy was an absolute bitch, but then again, she was written to be as such, so that makes sense. But, like, every other character is, and Portia was a bitch too, but I'm not going to get into that. But every other character was really good. They were all written very, very well. However, Otto just stood out as this fantastic character, and Kevin Kline probably saw that and absolutely, amped up his performance. I will say that this is the best performance I've seen from Kevin Kline, second only to a little-known film he did, which is called I Love You to Death. That is still by far his best film. This sucker here is a close second, and that is saying a lot, because I love the movie I Love You to Death. This thing is almost as good. So yeah, they're just saying. So we have awesome writing, we have awesome acting, camera work. I mentioned it during the film. At one point, we have the camera pan over and there's a mirror in the background. Now normally, guys, when you see stuff like boom mics or cameras, it's usually very, very faint, and you see it for maybe a quarter of a second or so, because the editors know to cut away, or they go for a different angle, they go for something. Instead, the camera holds on that same shot for almost 10 seconds, it felt like, and you can see the camera as clear as day in the mirror on half that is in half of the shot. You can see the camera, and I just stopped paying attention to what was going on in the scene. I was absolutely fixated on that goddamn camera. But again, that's because I notice those sorts of things. So, frankly, probably very few other people are going to ever notice the camera in the fucking mirror, okay? But beyond that one minor mess up, I saw no other problems in terms of camera work. Everything else here was filmed very, very well. I kind of wish that they'd picked a different angle for that one shot, which is really funny because then the next shot that they kick over to is also in front of a huge mirror in the camera's position, so that way you don't see it. So that then to me actually kind of makes the previous shot even more glaring. Again, though, that is some minor trivial shit that very few people are probably going to really notice. So, camera work here is fantastic, minus that one shot, which, again, that's nothing. Sound mix here is done very, very well. Also, in terms of acting and writing, I kind of sort of forgot to mention this. There is a lot of physical comedy in here, and I know some people are not really into physical comedy. Actually, there's one scene that is very heavy on the physical slapstick kind of thing, and it was incredibly funny. I fucking loved it, but then again, that's because I'm kind of sort of into physical comedy, so, you know, that is just me. Just sort of thought I'd warn, because I know some people are not into physical comedy, and some people are not into slapstick, and that kind of thing is an automatic turnoff for them. So, heads up, there is at least one scene I can guarantee, well, plus the dog deaths kind of slapstick too. So yeah, there's a couple of slapstick, dark comic moments too. This thing's a little bit on the dark side. Want to sort of warn on that also. So now that I've gone way off the fucking tracks here, why don't we try to reel it all back in? Sound mix here was done very well. The soundtrack is, or rather the score, is really cool sounding. It is very 80s, like synthy kind of, you know, like synthy, like rock pop kind of thing. Sounds really good, and in fact, actually, it kind of sort of helps the mood a bit, especially since the movie itself is a dark, romantic heist comedy. That kind of a score works perfectly for it. So I am going to give absolute props on the score, and if I can ever find the score on CD somewhere, or if I can find like a BitTorrent with it, I'll probably download it and at least turn one of those songs into my fucking ringtone. It sounded really cool. When all is said and done, guys, am I able to recommend A Fish Called Wanda? Oh, yes. However, considering the fact that, according to what I've been told, I'm one of the only people on the planet who hasn't seen this fucking thing yet, most of you probably already knew that this thing was awesome. But I'm able to absolutely confirm it. This movie is one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. And this thing's going to have a very happy spot on my DVD shelf until I decide to break down and upgrade to the Blu-ray, which I'm not sure how long that will take. So yes, guys, if you haven't seen this yet, or if you haven't seen it in a couple of years, by all means, check it out. You can probably find it on Netflix. If not, you can probably find it on Amazon really cheap. Speaking of Amazon, A Fish Called Wanda came off the Amazon wish list. The person who sent it in is someone who sent in quite a few movies for this series. His name is Medio Surreal. You can find his YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/Medio Surreal, and I will put a link to his channel in this video's description. Swing over there, guys. Check it out. And Medio, dude, thank you. I was always curious about this movie, and I always kind of had that niggling doubt in the back of my head that this thing could quite possibly suck, and thank God that those doubts did not wind up being, you know, truth. This thing was an absolute gem, and I fucking loved it. In fact, I'm really almost tempted to go and watch it, you know, again, which I might do. However, I do happen to remember I still have an episode or two of Fawlty Towers I still have to watch on Netflix, so I'm going to go watch those first. So yes, guys, please, I want you to swing over and check out Medio's channel. Once more, dude, thank you very much, and once more, if you guys have not seen this movie, check it out. It is fantastic stuff. And with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.